Welcome everyone to another edition of AEW Dark. Tonight we kick things off with Shawn Spears defending his internet title against the returning Dustin Rhodes. Then we've got Mickie James against Riho. Also, Jungle Boy faces The Butcher. And our main event, something different, a hardcore match between Joey Janela and Brian Cage. So, Dark kicks off with Shawn Spears defending his AEW Internet Championship title against the returning Dustin Rhodes. We haven't seen the natural Dustin in quite some time. I think it's going all the way back to All Out in this save here on TEW 2020. And it's Shawn Spears that defeats Dustin in 15 minutes 14. And it's a really good match. The match getting the show off to a very strong start. It's a running Death Valley driver. Is it the C4 from Shawn Spears? Well, anyway, after the match, Shawn Spears grabs a mic along with his Internet Championship and says, "Finally, this title means something. 2 weeks now, I've come out here and defended it against legends of the business and still no sign of Cardona. Maybe he's crying into his little toy wrestling ring with his little action figures pretending that he's won this back." Matt Cardona then bursts out from the back, races to the ring and almost catches Spears with a huge right, but Spears managing to get out of dodge as he makes his way up the ramp. Cardona grabs the mic that Spears drops. "Hey Shawn, it's nice to see you actually win something in your career. How long you been in the business now? Anyway, I've just found out that you'll be putting my Internet Championship on the line. A revolution. Against me." He slams the mic down, taunting Spears. So there we go, match made then for AEW Revolution. Shawn Spears against Matt Cardona. It's a rematch with the Internet Championship on the line, and it will be a pre-show match. It will be a part of the AEW Revolution buy-in. You guys don't want to miss it. Can Cardona capture his title? Can he win it back off Shawn Spears after being without it for the last couple of weeks? Excalibur then says, "What a wild start to a wild episode of Dark. Tonight, Jungle Boy, back from a brutal assault on last week's Dynamite, is here and ready to take on The Butcher. That should be an interesting one considering everything that's gone down between the two teams lately and with the inclusion of Eddie Kingston. And Mickie James is in action tonight against Riho, a match I'd never thought I'd call. Can't wait." And Renee, if that isn't enough, Joey Janela is back in the ring tonight, and I'm not sure how smart this is, but he is facing Brian Cage, who ran him down in the parking lot a few weeks back in a hardcore match right before that huge 10-man tag team on Dynamite tomorrow night. So a nice, decent little segment there between Renee and Excalibur, the commentary team for AEW Dark. Excalibur improvising well throughout the segment as we get a 54. Up next then, in about that had decent reaction from the crowd, but terrible wrestling. The Butcher defeats Jungle Boy in 7:46 after interference from Eddie Kingston. Of course, Eddie Kingston had to be involved. Jungle Boy putting in a much better performance there with a 40. The segment getting a 40 as well. It's not too bad. We just got to keep working and building up the Butcher and the Blade. In about that had decent reaction for the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Riho defeats Mickie James in 10:29 after a jumping knee attack, and it's a really good match between these two as it scores a 50. And this loss also sees Mickie James on a bit of a losing streak. That's 2 matches now that she's lost in 2 appearances. Will she be able to claw her way out of this little rut that she's found herself in? We'll have to wait and see. And finally, our main event of Dark this week. In about that had good heat and decent wrestling, it's Brian Cage that defeats Joey Janela in this hardcore match after 11 minutes 36 by pinfall with a flying elbow drop. You can just imagine a table set up. Brian Cage heads to the outside, climbs the turnbuckles and nails the flying elbow drop right through the heart of Joey Janela and through the table. So we almost pushed for that 60. Really good main event. Really happy with that. One of our better matches over the last couple of weeks. Since the return of Dark anyway this year. Probably the best match that we've put on. But we only got 46 for the overall rating. And the crowd wasn't happy. So they expected more angles and interview segments. So that was a bit of a downer. But that's okay. As we are now focused on the go-home show of AEW Dynamite, as we've got Revolution to prepare for. So don't miss the next episode, AEW Dynamite, The Go Home Show. I'll see you all there.